Welcome to Football is Life. Today we're here to talk about a professional baseball and football player. He is the only professional athlete in the history to be named as an all-star in two major North American sports. His elite achievements in multiple sports has given him the reputation as one of the greatest athletes of all time. Today we're here to talk about Vincent Edward Bo Jackson. Let's get it. Bo Jackson was the 8th of 10 children and was born November the 30th, 1962 and raised in Bessemer, Alabama. He was named after Vince Edwards, his mother's favorite actor. His family described him as a wild warhog as he would constantly get into trouble. He attended school in McAllen, where he rushed for 1,175 yards as a running back as a school senior. He also hit 20 home runs in 25 games for the McAllen baseball team during his senior season also. So just sit back and look at the big picture of this. He's 8 out of 10 children. He's going to high school. And not only is he rushing for almost 1,200 yards on the football field and gridiron, he's also playing in that diamond on the baseball field and hit 20 home runs in 25 games. This dude was a hoss. In 1982, Bo Jackson set state school records for indoor high jump and the triple jump. So not only was this dude scoring touchdowns, hitting home runs, he was also jumping out the gym. This dude probably could have played basketball too, bro. Bo Jackson was actually like that. Now he's leaving high school, he goes to college. But believe it or not, his college and NFL career are kind of running neck and neck. This guy had a great college career with the stuff that he actually did in college. No other running back had ever done it before Bo Jackson actually done it. You know what I mean? So in 1982, Bo Jackson was selected by the New York Yankees in the second round. So he could have went the baseball route because he was already, drafted by the Yankees. But he actually chose to stay in school and go to college. You know what I'm saying? And when he stayed in college, he chose Auburn University on a football scholarship because he promised his mother he would be the first in the family to go to a major college. So just sit there and think about that. This guy's drafted second round to the New York Yankees. He can go straight to the MLB, right out of high school, straight to the big leagues. But instead, he took the college route and accepted a scholarship from the University of Auburn because he made a promise. That's crazy. He was recruited by head coach Pat Dye and then Auburn assistant coach Bobby Wallace alongside defensive head coach Dominic Sawyer. At Auburn, he proved to be a tremendous athlete in both baseball and football. So the only thing he was doing, he was building up his momentum so when he actually left college, that when he actually entered into the NFL or the MLB, that his portfolio and the stats that he was going to put up in college would go speak for itself. During his time playing for the Auburn Tigers football team, he ran for 4,303 career yards, which was the 4th best performance in Southeastern Conference history. Just think about this. The man finished his career with an average of 6.6 yards per carry, which set the SEC record with a minimum of 400 rushes. Come on, bruh. So this dude was a walking first down. You know what I'm saying? Only thing the quarterback had to do was hike the ball, hand it to Bo Jackson, 2 downs, and it's a first down, and they moving down the field. That's crazy. In 1983, as a sophomore, Bo Jackson rushed for 1,213 yards on 158 carries for an average of 7.7 yards per carry, which was the second best single season average in SEC history. In 1983 Auburn, Alabama game, Bo Jackson rushed for 256 yards on 20 rushes. The dude went out there and ran all over Alabama. He almost had 300. He almost put up Sparta on the boys. Come on, man. That's crazy. Auburn finished the season by winning the Sugar Bowl against the Michigan Wolverines, where Bo Jackson was named the most valuable player in 1984. Come on, man. This dude was putting up stat after stat after stat, year after year after year after year. Bo Jackson was that dude, man. Now, a lot of people don't talk about his junior year because his junior year in college, he actually missed a lot of that season due to injury. So therefore, the first 2 years there, he was putting up a little bit of yards here and there. Second year, sophomore, he did his thing. You know what I'm saying? The third year kind of like fizzled off just a little bit. But people also always knew his potential, man. But junior year wasn't that good. Now it's time for the bounce back. You know when you've been counted out, everybody been throwing the towel on you, then all of a sudden you got to pop back out like a jack in the box. In 1985, Bo Jackson rushed for 1,786 yards, which was the second best single-season performance in SEC history. For his performance in 1985, Bo Jackson was named the Heisman Trophy in what was considered the closest margin of victory in the history of the award. That's crazy. He won that. The runner-up was Chuck Long. This man was a running back, and he beat out a quarterback to win the Heisman Trophy. The Heisman Trophy in college football is the equivalent to the NBA MVP. You know what I'm saying? That's the most valuable player in college football. So that season, in his senior season, he put up almost 2K yards, and he was named the Heisman Trophy winner. That's crazy. Bo Jackson finished his career at Auburn with 4,575 all-purpose yards and 45 total touchdowns, 43 rushing, and 2 receiving with a 6.6 per yard average per carry. Jackson's football number 34 was officially retired at Auburn in a halftime ceremony on October 31st, 1992. So now what do? You done lived up to the promise that you gave back to your mom. You went to college for 4 years. You had an incredible career at Auburn, even though your junior season didn't pan out to be what it was going to be. But you still was a 2-star athlete on the baseball field and the football field. So what's next? Now you know what's next. Now it's time to go to the league, hit the next level, see what you got, see can you dig deep and pull out anything else that's left in the tank. He had a pretty good run in college with the baseball thing, but as far as, his senior season, he missed a lot of that because he was ruled ineligible by the NCAA following a visit by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They wanted this guy on their team, bro. But in the years 1983, 1985, and 1986, he had pretty good numbers all across the board. And not only baseball, this guy was out there running track. You know what I'm saying? So it was no kind of sport that he kind of really didn't do in college. But now, Bo Jackson was selected as the first overall pick by the 1986 NFL draft by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. First overall, but he refused to play for them because the visit to the team's facilities, Buccaneers said the NCAA approved was actually not. So when he actually visited the Buccaneers facility, it wasn't approved by the NCAA, but he was under the impression that it was, and he missed the remainder of the final college baseball season, and he believed that was deliberately done by the Buccaneers to get him to actually play football instead of baseball. So they was actually trying to lean him in the direction of playing one sport instead of the other. So he told the Buccaneers not to draft the number 1 overall. They did it anyway because the NFL, the owners, they do what they want to do. He opted out of that, bro. He did not want to go to the NFL as the first number 1 overall pick. So instead, he actually went to play with the Kansas City Royals, defending World Series champions. He was drafted him in the 4th round, 105th overall in the 1996 amateur draft. That's crazy. Dude could have went number 1 overall, got the money out the gate, the millions, but he did not want to play for that team because he felt like they backdoored him, they backstabbed him, and there's certain things they probably could have did for him, but they didn't do. So instead, he just took his talents elsewhere and went down the road. See, that lets you know his heart was in it for a different reason. A lot of other people in that position would have took that number 1 overall pick with the guaranteed money on the table and went to play football. You know what I'm saying? But he chose another route. He signed a 3-year contract with the Kansas City Royals for $1 million. He could have got way more money than that on as a number 1 overall pick. He was called up from the majors in September 1986. He made the Royals roster in 1987 as a left fielder and hit 22 runs with 53 RBIs and 10 stolen bases. This dude was a monster. In 1989 was when he began to show a lot of potential in baseball. He was voted to that year's All-Star game. That was big for Bo Jackson. And in that All-Star game, he was named the game's MVP for his play on both offense and defense in the game. He had a great baseball career, but despite the Buccaneers still drafting him the first overall pick, he turned down a $7.6 million five-year contract in favor of that year for the Kansas City Royals. But in 1987, choosing to sleep in rather than attend the draft, Bo Jackson found out that he was selected in the 7th round with the 183rd pick by the Los Angeles Raiders. Initially, Bo Jackson stated he would continue to focus on baseball and would not sign, but his interest was piqued when he learned Raiders owner Al Davis was a fan of Bo Jackson and receptive to Jackson playing both baseball and football. Look, we all know Al Davis, you know what I'm saying? Al Davis was one of those owners who was just like, look, this dude is a little edgy, I want him. This dude has a little issue, I don't care, I want him. You know what I'm saying? So he let Bo Jackson still play both baseball and football. A 5-year, $7.4 million contract was negotiated with Jackson would be permitted to play the entire baseball season with the Royals and will report to the Raiders once the MLB season was finished, even if it meant missing NFL games. Bo Jackson received a $500,000 signing bonus plus another $500,000 if he returned the following year in 1988. He joined the Raiders where he shared the backfield with Marcus Allen. That was crazy. That was a dual threat. You got the big bruiser in Bo Jackson, and then you got Marcus Allen like the little scat back. That was kind of crazy. Week 12, prior to the game, Seattle Seahawks linebacker Brian Bosworth insulted Bo Jackson and promising a media event before the game to contain Bo Jackson and said he won't get no yards. Bo Jackson responded by running over Bosworth on his way to a touchdown near the goal line. He also made a 91-yard run in the second quarter to the outside, untouched down the sideline. Look at me now, Bosworth. He rushed for 221 yards that night, 2 touchdowns. He added a third with a reception. The 221-yard game was a single game record for the Raiders at that time. So all that yipping and yapping by Bosworth didn't do nothing but make Bo Jackson go out there and run for almost 250. He smoked your boots, Bosworth. This is where the story takes a turn. Bo Jackson sustained an NFL career-ending hip injury from a seemingly routine tackle at the end of a 34-yard run in a playoff game on January the 13th, 1991 against the Cincinnati Bengals. And just imagine, you're running, you run for 34 yards and then somebody comes from the side of you and hits you in your hip. It probably knocked his hips out of place. His left hip had been injured, and the football has a lot to do with your leg. You know what I'm saying? The center of gravity. It has to do a lot with that. In the film, you don't know Bo. Bo Jackson claimed that when he realized his hip injury on the field, he had to pop his own hip back into the socket. Oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. You laying on the field, the trainers don't get there fast enough, you're in pain. You still have to pop your own hip back in the socket. That's crazy. And when he popped his hip back in the socket, it damaged the blood vessels, supplying blood to the hip. While doctors did not find proof that Jackson reset his hip, they did discover that there was a fracture of one of Jackson's hip bones. Traumatic granulosis is basically death of bone tissue. So when he popped his hip back in place, it damaged blood vessels and basically just killed his blood tissue. He would be forced to retire from football and was then cut by the Royals in spring training. Bo Jackson will return to competition with the White Sox toward the end of the 1991 baseball season, but did not play the 1992 season while having his hip replaced. His college career was damn near just as long as his NFL career. This was one of the best runners all around blockers. This dude was a hoss. But a plan is made for everybody when you're born. And that was his plan, to play those 3-4 years in the NFL, to play in the MLB for those 3 or 4 years. He did what he was supposed to do. And now when you complete a mission in life, you don't stop there. You move on, you grow, and you complete another. So with that all being said, this is what happened with Bo Jackson. Subscribe to the channel. Till next time, I'm out.